Hey guys, it's Kim here with Fairly Fiber Fun. Thanks for joining me on another knitting video. So today we are knitting a summer top from the yarns that I've been spinning for the past few years. They are wool and flax blend that I made. I will put links to those videos down in the show notes. I have 3 skeins of yarn. This one is the first one that I made. It was wet spun because of the flax, and it is 450 yards, and I spun this during Tour de Fleece 2022. And then this one was spun during Tour de Fleece the same year, but it's 260 yards, much thicker, and I did not wet spin this. And then this is the one I just spun. So here they all are ready to go, and I've picked this pattern, Pretty in Pleats. I'll put a picture up for you. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and I have no idea what my gauge is going to be. I have no idea of anything, so I'm going to just jump in and get started and figure it out as I go. Okay, I just finished the very first skein. So it looks a little messy, but I've got a knot at the end here that I just never cut off when I wound it up. And this is the beginning of my row marker. And right here is the 10-inch mark. Down here is the 5-inch. And I actually put this in last night. I didn't film anything yesterday, but I put that in last night. And so everything above that marker I've done today, which doesn't look like a whole lot, but my hands are really starting to hurt. So I've probably done too much at one time. I need a break. That's okay. So there's the whole thing. I laid it out earlier and kind of stretched out the bottom. I think this is the bottom of it, not the top, but I think that this will fit around my hips just fine. And I have about 3 to 4 more inches to go before I separate the front and back. So I'm just going to attach the next biggest skein of yarn, which is the most recently spun. This was the wet spun skein, and I had like 450 yards, and the other one I have 300 and something. So I'm going to attach that one and keep going. So all excited that in a few days I've gotten maybe about 12 inches knit on this. Oh my goodness. I'm really excited that in just a few days I managed to get 12 inches knit on the body of this sweater, and I'm loving the fabric. It's not too thin, but it's also not thick, and I can tell it's going to be very, very cool and comfortable, which is what I was going for. So considering how the last one turned out, where I think my gauge was too tight and was very, very hot, this one's not going to be too hot. So even though it's not superwash, it's not going to be as hot because it's got a significant amount of flax in it, which is a nice, cool fabric. So yeah, I can't wait to have it done. I need to quit knitting because I need to add in the next skein so that I can... Oh, and I've got a little mistake here. Yeah, I like to overlap the beginning of the first one with the end of the last one, and then I knit the two together, and then I don't have ends to weave in later. So that's that. Super excited. It's done. It's all done. And it's so comfortable. It's not as cool as I thought it would be. The yarn is a bit fuzzy, and in humidity it's like, but I love it. I've been wearing it all day today. I've been cleaning. I've been doing all sorts of things. I've been sweating up a storm. I know that's gross. Sorry, but the thing is that I don't feel gross. I feel comfortable and happy, and camera's crooked. Is that better? A little bit. Anyway, so it is way too big. I have a huge amount of positive ease. So that is all excess fabric right there. So I'm pinching the front and back together. So that is all excess fabric, like 4 inches of excess fabric doubled on like both sides. So very, very big, but it's so comfortable. It's loose and flowy. The air is able to move through it. And the pleats just make me feel so feminine. Try not to wobble the tripod too much. So I did have an issue with the pattern at the pleats. The pattern says to work your pleats over 48 stitches, and then it gives you instructions to work 6 pleats. I had 12 stitches left over because each pleat takes 6 stitches, and that should have been 36. So I took out the pleats and I counted the center 36 stitches. I did all my pleats there, and then I realized that I needed to decrease out 12 stitches to make my stitch count work properly. So the pattern should have said to work 8 pleats, not 6. Oh well, it would look better, I think, if the pleats reached just one more on each side, because they are from my finger to my finger here, and it should have been just a little bit wider. That would have looked a little bit better, and I would have had the correct stitch count. So if you knit Pretty in Pleats by Andrea Yetman, that is the only part of the pattern that I had a major trouble with. The rest was like, I think there was one other area where the numbers didn't quite add up, but I figured it out. So go off the stitch counts that you're given, not the number of pleats, because the stitch counts, or the number of repeats, the stitch counts are correct, but throughout the pattern, they are consistently correct, but your repeat, you know, how many times you're supposed to repeat a certain instruction, or like the number of pleats, is not correct. So go off the stitch counts the pattern gives you and you'll be fine. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and it is, I'm either a whole lot smaller than the last time I measured myself, or this pattern is just got way more positive ease than I thought, or my gauge was way off. Could be all three of those. I could have gone down probably 3 sizes and it still fit. I could have knit the small probably. But I didn't, and I'm actually really happy with it, so no big deal. But I probably should check my gauge and see if that was where my issue was, because I didn't bother to do a gauge swatch. I just grabbed the needles the pattern called for and my yarn and started knitting. Because gauge swatches lie. I don't ever get a good gauge swatch, so like I'll swatch to see how the yarn looks in a pattern, but not, and I'll swatch to see what needle size looks best, gives me the best fabric, but I won't swatch to see if I meet gauge, because when I'm knitting a pattern, it's not the same gauge as a gauge swatch. In the same needle, same yarn, and same style of knitting. It's totally different in a gauge swatch than it is in the final product. So I don't know, I must knit differently when I knit a gauge swatch, but it doesn't really matter. That's why I don't do gauge swatches. So anyway, I'm happy with it, and it's nice to be able to enjoy the end of summer with a brand new summer top that I can wear with pants or shorts or anything like that. The other one that I made, I have mentioned it earlier in this video. Ashley looks really, really good with the skirt, and is also, I have figured out that Knit Pick Stroll yarn is quite fuzzy, while the other commercial sock yarns that I have that I dyed are not, and that makes a huge difference in how warm they are. So yeah, yarn type makes a difference. And this is still a little on the scratchy side because of the flax is short stapled, and it is a little crunchy, but every time you wash flax it gets softer, and the wool is a bit fuzzy, so that makes it warm, but the flax helps with it cool. And wool is a temperature, let's see, what is it? It helps to balance your temperature. So you can wear wool in the hot summer. I've done it before, but you don't want like fuzzy, 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 or felted, or super dense, or like woolly yarn. You want more of smooth, sleek yarn that's not going to fuzz up and trap your body heat. So it also prevents you from getting a sunburn. You know, some clothes you'll get burned right through it, and when you're out in the sun, and others like this, I would burn everywhere but not even tan where the wool is. So I mean, I don't go out in the sun that much. I burn here and on my face. I don't really burn anywhere else. So, but I haven't been outside that much this summer. Just go out there and soak up some sun, do a little gardening, watch the hummingbirds, but I really haven't spent that much time out in the sun. So I only know from past experience where I worked outside for several hours and I was horribly sunburnt, but I didn't even tan where my wool top was sitting. So, and it was a summer top that I had made. So wool is great sun protector. And when it is the right type of yarn and it's the right type of fabric, it does not make you hotter. It really helps to regulate your body temperature. That's what I was looking for earlier, regulate. I cast on July 23rd and I bound off on June 28th, so just over a month. And I've had a chance to wear it a bit. It is now August. And as you can see, I've already put up the fall decorations because I am already filming for fall videos. So it is what it is. Anyways, thanks for joining me on this adventure, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.